Hello, and welcome back to the Holistic Frugivore. This is Jess, your host for this wonderful frugivore-based holistic healing podcast. I hope you've enjoyed all the episodes up until now. I've been really enjoying this outlet of getting information out there. Sometimes it's hard to speak to people about it if it's not something that always resonates with them. So it's nice to have a platform like this to share for people who seek this information. So today we're going to continue on with our chakra talks, our chakra healing information, and with a little meditation at the end, just like last time. So we're going to talk about the sacral chakra today. That is associated with the color orange, and it sits right around your sex organs, just below your belly button, in that pelvic area, the pelvic floor, within the hips there. So this is going to be a little bit of a harder one for me because I still have a good amount of work to do within this chakra, as do many of us. And the first thing I want to say are our bottom three chakras are the ones that are more of our primal physical chakras. They're the ones that hold a good amount of dense energy that is kind of our primal survival instincts as humans, grounding us to earth, those first three, while the higher three are kind of our connection to consciousness, our spiritual, astral self, and the heart is the loving connection between them. So these first two, or first three, the root, the sacral, and then the solar plexus will be next week, are very important to be open and active, flowing energy, very open and bright and emanating, to really help us feel grounded and stable in this life, this experience. And many of us, the first three chakras are the most common reason that those are imbalanced or blocked has to do with our childhoods. And very, very young in childhood, kind of that 0 to, I think, up to 7 years old, I think, for the first three chakras, very based on our emotional attachment to our parents, how responsive they are to us in womb and out as babies. Doing things like cry it out and other methods like that just detach you from your children's needs, really add to these traumas and these blockages within these chakras for us. And we perpetuate that into our children if we continue that cycle. So it's important, as someone who is very passionate about conscious parenting, for us to understand how much what we do with our children at infancy, toddlerhood, how hugely impactful those experiences are for creating our grounding, trust in the individuals around us, not only in ourselves, but our caregivers. So it starts very young. So we need to be aware of that. So the second chakra is associated with feeling and having pleasure. It has to do, it's a kind of our sensual organ, kind of deals with movement and connection. And a really big, here's the developmental stage for this one, 6 to 24 months, so up to 2 years old. A big part of blockages within this have to do with sexual abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, coldness from caregivers, denial of child's feelings, emotional manipulation, overuse of playpen or restricting normal movement, religious or moral severity, physical abuse, alcoholism in the family, any type of abuse in the family, really. And inherited issues, like parents who have not worked out their own issues around sexuality, untreated incest cases, sexual abuse, rapes, such like that. All of that really carries down to our children. So it's very important things for us to be doing these healing processes before we have children, and at least starting to understand it when we have children. Like that's where my awakening started, was after having my first son, and understanding how much what I do impacts him. Early on, I knew that I wasn't able to let him cry it out or just ignore his needs. I would nurse on demand, kind of opposite of what many doctors and common parenting coaches would tell you, just because inside, that was kind of that beginning of the intuitive connection for me. None of it just felt right. It felt wrong, felt like I was betraying him. So thankfully, I was able to allow that to play out as it did, and with my other two children as well, to really just be present, always be available to your children. It doesn't mean that they control you. It means that you're taking care of their needs, which is hugely important while they're young, so they grow up to trust in themselves as they get older. So when we see a balanced second chakra, balanced sacral, we'll have things like emotional intelligence, being able to cope properly with things, not being too reactive, an ability to experience pleasure, that a lot of sexual experiences and issues within sexual boundaries, and just being able to feel enjoyment during sex tends to hold a lot of guilt for people. That's something I resonate with. Like I said, this is a harder one for me to do because I'm showing a little bit of vulnerability. That's uncomfortable with this. But that kind of shame and guilt around sexual experiences, which is a normal and beautiful human thing, a human experience for us to have. And it often gets kind of diminished the more we have unmeaningful sex and not truly having that raw, spiritual, energetic connection to our partner. It becomes just a thing, seeking orgasm, and that's it. And that's what a lot of people get stuck on, and not that true, conscious, beautifully conscious experience. From what I understand, orgasm is a very direct connection of us to a source consciousness. It blows your energetic fields open. And that's why we tend to seek it so much. I mean, we seek that experience of it, but we also can't always put into words why it's so powerful. And that's why, when you really experience it in the right way and connect with a partner who truly connects with you on a very energetic field, emotional field, it's a powerful human experience. What should we talk about next? So, physical manifestations that can come from blocked sacral chakra would be a lot of things around the reproductive system, fertility issues, stuff like that, the reproductive organs, the spleen, and the urinary system. Menstrual difficulties, sexual dysfunction, such as impotence, premature ejaculation, frigidity, and non-orgasmic. And let's say the rest of them: low back pain, knee trouble, lack of flexibility, deadened senses, loss of appetite for food, sex, and life. So I'm just going to be vulnerable again and say that I check most of those boxes. And I haven't done as much work into this one as I'd like. And I urge how important it is, because I know in myself what I feel and experience because of this blocked chakra. And I know there's a very big wall that comes up when it comes to not only just sexual experiences, but our own sensuality and experience with ourselves. You need to be able to be comfortable in being in love with yourself before you can share that love with others, physically and emotionally. And that's something I'm working into as well. So just know it's something. Oh, I also wanted to mention anyone who's gone down some of these rabbit holes of things that we're seeing come to the surface right now of our society, such as sex trafficking, child trafficking, the blood rituals. There's these sexual cult rituals that have been happening on our planet for a very long time. And whether it be this current life or previous incarnations we've had, there's a very good chance that we have at some point experienced some sort of ritualistic trauma around sex, blood, cult rituals. And it's such a dark thing to talk about, but I think it's very important to mention. And I encourage you to go. I'm not going to talk too much about that because it gets too deep. But I encourage you to do some digging in these things, because it's stuff that we really need to bring our awareness around and understand where a lot of these traumas come from. And I've had some past life regressions that have opened up this specific area of understanding for me. So I encourage you to look into it. Rewilding for Women is a great one that I follow. Sabrina is wonderful with some of these journeys, and Bridget Nielsen I love as well. So, I mean, most of the issues within this chakra have to do with kind of a discomfort of the self, connection with the self, emotionally and physically, sexual experiences, obsessive attachment with partners, poor boundaries with partners or others around you. And it can go to the excess of being sexual addicts. So there's the polarizing of that. So you have the fear around sex and orgasm, or the obsession with it. So that has to do with either the deficiency of energy in that or the excess of energy. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about, so a lot of this cult ritual stuff that we've dealt with tends to represses our sexual energy and adds these traumas to our energy fields. So that repressed sexual energy affects our connection, not only in sexual experiences, but with everyone around us. It has to it causes certain social issues. And I'm trying to see here, there was an area I wanted to talk about. I like this quote: just as logic leads the mind, desire guides the soul. So it's not just sexual desire, it's desire in life, creativity. The sacral and the throat are actually connected in that sense of kind of self-love and authenticity, creativity, and our emotions. So emotions is actually a big one that gets blocked within that. That the sexual suppression, sacral suppression, can also relate to suppressed emotions, unable to open up to partners, or fear of opening up to partners because we've been mistreated in some way early on in our lives. And it's such a hard topic to talk about because we're talking about children being mistreated, abused, taken advantage of. And it really affects your entire life, your entire way of living, and your connection to other people. Sorry, there was a quote that I was looking for here. Yes, here's a big one. I've come to realize that sexual assault is an imposed death experience for the victim. That is, the victim experiences her life as having been taken by somebody else. So, what that means is a part of them has been taken away from that sexual assault. A part of them that's going to be, and anyone who's dealt with sexual abuse in some way understands what that means. A certain amount of self love, self power, confidence is taken away from you in a big way. I'd say self power being a big one, because you didn't have the power to stop what was happening, even though you felt that it wasn't right. And this is a tough topic right now as well. And I've shifted my beliefs a couple times on it. But abortion is actually a big trauma for many women. And it's not necessarily as much whether or not you believe in the legal aspects of abortion. I, for one, don't ever want to inflict any type of governmental control over the body of a human being, ever, for any reason. I'm a big believer in libertarian society, and I speak about it often on my Instagram page, that we need to allow people to live their life as they see fit. However, to come back to this cult ritual aspect of it, I came down a very dark rabbit hole that I wasn't able to come back from that discussed abortion. And it's very much, it's a coerced consent to a cult ritual of child sacrifice. And we may not see it that way. And I know that sounds harsh. If you or know of anybody who, I personally have not done an abortion myself, but I know many who have, this is a free of judgment explanation. I'm not criticizing, I'm not judging, I'm simply stating, when you break it down, what it truly is, when we understand the role of these elite people in society who are controlling much of what we do, the people who have performed cult rituals and sacrifices and blood rituals, they're the ones who are basically manipulating us to support these things, because it becomes our consent. We walk in and consent to these procedures thinking that we are making a powerful and empowered decision for what's best for our life. But it's in a very manipulated way based on many factors, which we won't go into. But it's often based on many factors in terms of cultural, societal norms and acceptances. So no matter which way your belief is on this topic, regardless, it's an assault on our second chakra. The second chakra organs, the reproductive system, all of it. It's halting the natural process of the body, which is meant to continue a pregnancy. So, and I know the experience itself of getting one done is a trauma for the mother, and it's a trauma for the soul of the baby that was inside the mother, depending on how early along. I do know there's a little bit of question of at what point the soul incarnates into the fetus. But that doesn't really matter, because no matter what, it is a trauma for the mother. So I that's all I'm going to say about that. I encourage you to look a little deeper. Remove any attachments you may have around that term. I mean, I know me personally, just hearing that word, there's many emotions that come up, and such a harsh political climate around it. But personally, it shouldn't be a political issue at all. It shouldn't be in politics. It shouldn't be in government whatsoever. It should be discussed on a very personal level of us as individuals, and not at all discussed in politics. So that is where I'm coming from in terms of what I'm discussing about this. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Seeing if there's any other good things I want to talk about here. Oh, last thing we'll talk about. There's a second chakra issues often show up most within relationships, romantic relationships. That's just where you're going to see it the most because it has to do with the sexuality, the emotional ability to communicate with your partner. And it just has to do with your ability to have an attachment with your partner, but not let it be a dependency, a codependent relationship or an abusive relationship. We kind of have both sides of that. And I think that's about kind of too much. I'm at about 22 minutes. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, common addictions within the second chakra blockage or excess or block or deficient are alcohol, sex, and heroin. Those are three of the main ones that manifest within a person based on a second chakra imbalance. For chakra 1, it's food, gambling, shopping, and work. So I don't think I mentioned that. For the root chakra, imbalances there will bring about food. I did mention food addictions. That's a common one for people. Gambling, shopping, and work addictions. All right, so I think I'm going to leave it at that for this one and get into our meditation. I'm going to end. All right, so let's get into our, if you're ready to get started here, I'm going to bring up my music for the meditation. I was listening to some good old 90s hits on my YouTube here before I did this. So I got everything Eminem and Rihanna coming up. So, okay, I'm trying to find my meditation music. All right. So get in a seated position. Well, you don't have to sit on the floor. You can sit in a chair, cross your legs, whatever's comfortable. Close the eyes, and we'll start to work into the sacral. Hopefully I can get this to come up. There we go. So let yourself connect with this music. Let it bring you under. As you're able to drop in, allow yourself to observe your thoughts. See them, acknowledge them, and let them pass through. And then we'll bring our focus to the sacral chakra. Imagine a beautiful orange light of energy, ball of energy, right in your pelvic floor, right between your hips. Feel into that energy center. Nice deep breaths in and out your nose. Breathe deep as you feel your belly rise on the inhale. And exhaling out everything on your exhale. And I'll actually have you switch to it. Inhaling in your nose, feeling your belly rise. And exhale out your mouth. Keep going, nice, deep breaths. Bringing your focus back to that orange ball of energy. Imagine it expanding outward, slowly getting bigger, running down your legs, up your torso, across your arms, up your neck, and all the way to the top of your head. Your whole body is filled with this beautiful orange ball of light, expanding out and around you. Breathe into that. Feel into that. Keep breathing. And now I want you to repeat these affirmations in your head or out loud. I deserve pleasure in my life. I absorb information from my feelings. I embrace and celebrate my sexuality. My sexuality is sacred. I move easily and effortlessly. And life is pleasurable. Breathe into those. Feel into your energy. Feel it running through your body and expanding all around you. This is where we will end. Sit here as long as you'd like. Thank you for listening today. And namaste.